WWE SummerSlam is coming up, and we're going to go through some early predictions here because I think there's going to be some pretty interesting matchups for this now 2-night show. By the way, these predictions are probably way wrong, so strap in. One match I could see them doing is going to be Io Sky versus Asuka versus Rhea Ripley for the World Heavyweight Championship. With Evolution coming up, I think that maybe they're going to do Rhea versus Io and try to run that match over there. I think with Liv Morgan's injury, honestly, I think it messed up a lot of the plans that they had. I think they were going to have the match with Nikki Bella. That was probably going to happen at Evolution. Roxanne, something there, Judgment Day related at SummerSlam. So I think they have to shift a lot of stuff. Io is interesting because she hasn't had like title matches at all. And coming out of Night of Champions, Jade won Queen of the Ring, so she's gonna go fight for the WWE Championship. I think because Asuka made it to the finals, we could see them try to rekindle that. They could do some qualified matches if they want to, but I'm gonna say right now, they're gonna do a triple threat for that match. Next up, we got Solo Sikoa, your brand new United States champion, and I think he's gonna take on Jacob Fatu one-on-one once again, but now Solo's got his whole crew back. Except for Tama Tonga. He's just still MIA. Now you got Tala Tonga, Tonga Loa, Tama Tonga, and JC Mateo. I feel like this is getting the title on Solo while I do really enjoy it, and I think it's cool that he's got a refreshed crew behind him. I think that they are going to try to quickly get the title back on to Jacob Fatu. I mean, they could do it where Fatu loses at SummerSlam, and it's because Tama Tonga shows up again, Black Hoodie, as they do, and the whole team just beats him down. But I do suspect that to even the odds to get to SummerSlam, I could see them trying to have some, bloodline allies of Jacob Fatu to help him out to even the odds against Solo's guys. Seeing Jimmy Uso coming out to help out Jacob. Maybe even Jey, because I don't know what Jey Uso is going to be doing at SummerSlam. We'll talk about all of that. So I think it's going to be a match that was a rematch for the US title. All right, another one, because I think I don't know how they're going to do this. This is either going to be on TV, maybe it's Saturday Night's main event, or they are going to do this for SummerSlam. LA Knight versus Seth Rollins. And I'm putting a pin in it here because there are so many different variables and options that are exciting for Seth Rollins. We'll talk about those because they're all potential matchups. But LA Knight got written off TV. Maybe he's not at SummerSlam for all we know. They're just going to write him off for a few months. But he's out because of the injuries he sustained from Bronson Reed. I think that they've been trying to get to that story of LA Knight versus Seth. Is that big enough for SummerSlam? I don't know, you tell me, but I think there's an opportunity there to do that match, have that payoff. Either LA Knight wins or Seth wins, and then later, night 1 or night 2, he does the cash in on maybe John Cena, Cody Rhodes. I can see that being a potential match. Now, the other thing is, if you can help me out as we go through all this fun little list stuff and fantasy booking here, hit that subscribe button because we're trying to get to 50,000 subs by SummerSlam. So it means a lot if you guys do end up enjoying the videos. Becky versus Lyra versus Bayley, triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship. I think that they're going to do something at Evolution between all these people. Maybe it's going to be Becky versus Bayley one-on-one at Evolution for the title. Becky retains, Lyra gets involved, messes things up again for Bayley. Get us 2 of that triple threat. Now here's the thing. I don't want just a regular triple threat. Something that Matt really enjoys are elimination matches. I think it adds more intrigue. What I'd like to see them do is a triple threat elimination match. You're not doing it, Triple H. They'll probably do a standard one-on-one or a triple threat and that's it. But elimination match for the title would be interesting because you could have Bayley get eliminated first, and then you're going to go have Lyra and Becky one-on-one again. And again, it's triple threat rules. It's no DQ. You're going to have Slim Jim tables left and right, apparently. Or even something cool where Becky gets eliminated first. So you're going to crown a new champion. Adds more intrigue and it changes the dynamic of it. But either way, I'm going to say that they're going to do that as a triple threat for SummerSlam. Another triple threat. Maybe it'll be a fatal 4-way, maybe it'll be one-on-one. But Dom Mysterio needs to get healthy. Apparently his ribs were injured. That's why he wasn't at Night of Champions. Gotta defend that title. Dom's IC title run has been like non-existent, and it's really unfortunate because I think they had the opportunity to do some really cool stuff, and they've told like no stories. It's all been about Judgment Day, Roxanne, Finn, all of that. I don't know if they're gonna, over the next like 6 weeks, if they're gonna have enough time to really pull the trigger on Finn versus Dom for the IC title, with Finn Balor breaking away from Judgment Day or causing a big problem with it. Judgment Day could still stay intact while this match happens, but maybe it's just that they're going to have a friendly rivalry between the two members, and it results in like Finn getting the IC title, which would be really cool. Or they're going to try to do maybe a multi-man match for the IC title. You get Dom on the show, Finn, and maybe AJ Styles, and do the triple threat. Could you add in Penta? Sure, but then it feels like we're rehashing the match at WrestleMania. Dom versus AJ one-on-one at SummerSlam. That's a great match, and maybe that is what they're gonna do. But the big story is Dom and Finn in the breakup there, and I don't know. WWE's so slow sometimes with these stories. Maybe it's not going to happen, but it's something I see them doing. Okay, next one that's going to be pretty intriguing. Jade, who is your new Queen of the Ring, she's going to fight Tiffany Stratton, who retained on SmackDown against Nia Jax. So we're going to get Jade versus Tiffany for the Women's Championship at SummerSlam. This is interesting because I think you have the X factor of Naomi. Now, Naomi teased the cash in the last Women's Standing match where she was going to like make it a triple threat. She got bounced off all around, and then that didn't happen. I can see them doing a couple of things. Could you do just a regular cash in? You know, you have Tiffany retain or Jade wins, and then at the end of the match, boom, Naomi's music hits and she cashes in. Maybe. But here's the thing. A lot of the internet, go figure, is not like totally enthralled with Jade Cargill, and they feel like she's being pushed too much, which she is being pushed because she won Queen of the Ring. They want her to be big star. So it all makes sense from WWE's side. The fans don't like that somebody is just getting pushed. So be it. But to avoid any like backlash, so to speak, on this matchup between Jade and Tiffany, I think a safe way to do it, because I think if Naomi comes out and she's going to cash in, she's going to get a huge reception. She's going to get big pop. People like Naomi because I think her character, personally, I think her character work is excellent. And I do want to see her with the belt. And I think fans will pop big that she does end up winning the title. And do they want to do that against, you know, Jade, for example? I don't think so. They want Jade as the babyface. So what I see them doing is having this one-on-one match of Jade and Tiffany. Naomi comes out and does make it a triple threat towards the very end. And then just have Naomi pin Tiffany. So she pins the champion. Jade never eats a pin. Everyone goes crazy anyways because Naomi won. It doesn't really hurt Tiffany that much because she's the clear-cut babyface here. And you then set up what I think is going to be the bigger match, maybe at Survivor Series, is going to be Jade versus Naomi, or circle Bianca in there, bring her into the fold and make that a triple threat. There are a lot of triple threat matches, potentially. But I do see Naomi cashing in SummerSlam. That's a big moment. Okay, tag team match. Do the SmackDown, the WWE tag team titles, make it onto the PLE? I don't think so. I don't think they ever do. Ever. I think they just, for some reason, they want to avoid that. Like, just give them a ladder match. Like, let's have some fun. But I don't see those titles making it on the show. Could the Raw, the World Tag Team titles, make it on the show? Maybe. New Day's talking a lot about how they need an opponent. I think they're going to stretch this thing out for weeks. And I honestly think what they're going to do is you're going to get the Lucha Brothers. I think they come together. I think you get New Day beating down Penta. I know Penta is like working around or with, you know, the Braun and Bronson crew, fighting them off a bit. I think that you get Penta, you want them at SummerSlam in a marquee match. You have just a couple of segments where New Day and Penta run into each other, or they got matches against each other, and they do a bunch of beatdowns, and it forces Penta to go over and grab Rey Fenix, and then boom, you get that nice big surprise, or they announce it and say that's the tag team match, or you do a mystery match at SummerSlam where it's New Day versus we don't know the opponents, and everybody figures, well, okay, now we get the Lucha Brothers. And then you get a big wild tag team match, and Lucha Brothers win the titles. You can even do like again, back to the multi-man matches. I don't love it, but you could do a triple threat tag team title match where you're gonna have the Lucha Bros versus New Day versus Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, and get them involved in tag team titles so they could do something other than being henchmen. But speaking of Braun and Bronson, something else I could see them doing, I don't know how they do this, and it's a big question mark, is Braun and Bronson versus Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. Just because they have a lot of problems with them, and I don't know really, you guys help me out here. Comment below, where do you slot Jey Uso, mostly Jey, into SummerSlam? And I'm going to talk about Gunther in a second too with the world title, because I don't see Jey in a title match. I don't think he needs to go after the world title. I think he's done enough of that. What else do you do with him? Do you slide him over to SmackDown and team up with Jimmy and help out Jacob? I don't know. Or do you have him in a tag team grudge match type of thing when it's him and Sammy teaming together and they're trying to go after Braun and Bronson, get their comeuppance? Could be Night of Champions. You had Sammy coming out there. You didn't have Jey, but they're all very involved in it. That's the only thing I could see them, other than you want Jey and Sammy teaming up to be the mystery opponents of the New Day. Maybe they want to do that and give them a short title run, tag team title run, like they've done with Cody and Jey. I really don't know what you do with it's Jey Uso that I'm really wondering about, of like, What are you going to do with him at SummerSlam? All right, other matches. Looking at SmackDown for a second here. You do have some other titles, but you have some other competitors and kind of big names that they should somehow get on the SummerSlam card. Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Do they have a one-on-one match or do they have a tag team match? If they have a tag team match, I don't see any viable opponents other than them uniting and then saying, we're going to go after the tag team titles. And they're going to fight Roxanne and Raquel so that they finally unify. Because the GMs were talking about how they're going to finally make a decision when it comes to the tag team titles. If Bliss and Charlotte are going to team, then they got to start doing it now to build to SummerSlam and to be in some kind of match or program. Like, are they going to go against Secret Harris? No, that's not SummerSlam worthy, I think. Do you have Bliss versus Charlotte? I think you really could. That is a big match. That's a big named match. And it could be that they're trying to get together for weeks and then it never works and they split. But I really feel like they're trying to get them to be on the same page for some kind of team. And then, yeah, do they pivot over to Roxanne and Raquel and say, we're going after the titles? It feels quick. And it doesn't feel like they've even hinted at that stuff. That's why I'm kind of curious. I'm like, well, do these two even make it? These big names you have? Do they even make it on SummerSlam? You also got 2 nights, right? So they gotta fill this card out. Even it's like 5-6 matches on one night and 5-6 matches on the other night. I think one of the other matches you could get at SummerSlam is going to be Drew versus Randy. Randy, I don't know. Again, it's a lot of like post Night of Champions. And what do you do with a lot of these big names? What do you do with Randy Orton? He's not getting a title shot. You can spin him off into something else, but I feel like there's not many people left for Randy to go after. So I could see them having Drew McIntyre return in the next week or two and fight Randy Orton. Could be an open challenge. It could just be Drew just targeting Randy and he's got his reasons and they build it up. Would that be a great match? Absolutely. I think they could make it work kind of like a Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre WrestleMania where you're like, okay, these two do have history, but feels a little shoehorned in there. I think you could still get a really fun and great match between Randy and Drew. Maybe that's something for both of them to do. But I do have another thought when it comes to Mr. Randy Orton, what you could be doing. But let's talk about the World Heavyweight Championship because this thing, man, I don't know. This is why these are early predictions. So I'm like, I don't know what direction they go in with this. Gunther's the World Heavyweight Champion. He's going to have his Saturday Night's Main Event match against Goldberg. I assume that Gunther's going to retain and they're not going to put it on Goldberg. So if let's say option 1, Gunther retains at Saturday Night's Main Event, he goes to SummerSlam against who? Penta? If he doesn't do Lucha Brothers things? Jay? Sammy again? Like, who is he going to fight that would make sense that we haven't seen already over and over again? Is it a multi-man match? Like, do they do a fatal 4-way of, let's say, Gunther, Penta, Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn for the world title? Maybe, but it feels like a lot of, again, repetition pieces we've already seen and matchups we've already seen are kind of like, oh, is that really exciting? So option 2, because I don't know what you do. You guys, this is where I need your help, like legit. I'm like, I don't know what you do with Gunther, and maybe I'm just missing something. But I think the other option is scary though. You could have, you could have the Saturday Night's Main Event match, Goldberg, Gunther. Goldberg wins. I'm just saying, Goldberg wins the world title. He holds it up, the final championship. Because the whole thing is Goldberg. He's not saying like he keeps talking about like, this is retirement, even though Michael Cole in the interview thing was kind of like, hey, what happens if you win? He's like, oh, we'll see. It's like, okay, it's just, they're playing it like he's just going to retire. What if Goldberg wins? Couple of spears, Gunther eats it, and Goldberg holds up the belt, shocking fashion, boom, Seth's music hits, and Seth cashes in on Goldberg. He's got his whole crew. They do a beatdown on Goldberg before he even rings the bell, stomp, and then Seth picks up the world title. If you do that, it's right before SummerSlam. It would be shocking because 1, Goldberg won the world title. 2, and he retires. 2, you have Seth picking up the world title where it really started to feel like, because of Night of Champions, he's going after the undisputed title. I still think it's a very big possibility. If you did this, then you could go very quickly and spin off to have Seth as your World Heavyweight Champion going up against CM Punk one more time, but now for the world title. Got to do something with Punk. He just came off Night of Champions. What's next? And I think it would be weird character story-wise to just have Punk come out on Raw and pivot and say, hey, I didn't beat Cena, so now I want the world title against Gunther. Would Gunther versus Punk be a great match? I think so, but it seems kind of odd. It's like, how come Punk can just turn around and just like start saying, I want that title now. I didn't get the main title, the big title, so I'm going to get this title. And that makes it feel lesser than. So if you want to build the world title up, maybe Seth does cash in at Saturday Night's Main Event. And then you got the Seth Punk match one more time. And you could end that thing with maybe Seth retaining, Punk doesn't get the job done. You could have Roman Reigns come out and he could get involved. And you do another SummerSlam Roman Reigns return and he's targeting Seth Rollins, who's now world champion. Not too sure. Otherwise, I don't know what you're doing with Gunther in that world title. Now, I know I haven't mentioned the Women's United States Championship. Julia just picked that thing up on SmackDown against Zelina Vega. Don't see that making it to SummerSlam. I don't know what the feud would be. Julia versus Chelsea Green would be a lot of fun, but they don't put all the title belts on the show. They just don't. And I don't know if it's going to be big enough. Also, they like to make those SmackDowns before the big PLEs. Also a big deal, and they have some title matches there. So that kind of leaves your main event of night 2. Presumably, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the Undisputed Championship. Cody is King of the Ring, but his promo at the end of King of the Ring was, the post-match, was interesting because he was kind of arrogant about it. Like, he took out Randy Orton, he talked about everyone's a character, and he's ready to get the ball back because he likes being quarterback. But Randy's face was interesting at that because he didn't like that. He didn't like Cody talking this way. And the other interesting piece is John Cena hesitating during the Punk match of hitting him with the title belt. Small indicators, clues perhaps that John Cena is finally going to be shifting over to the face side. But the other thing is that a lot of the crowd just likes John Cena. They like what he's doing. They like the promos, the pipe bombs, all this other stuff that they've been doing. He's not this really like super negative heel like he was when he first turned and he was going up against Cody for Mania. The character has changed and shifted, and the crowd is into him, and it's their last time they're going to see him. Putting Cody versus Cena one-on-one again, I don't know how the crowd responds. People will love Cody, but people really love Cena. Do they really want to see Cody going after it one more time again? It could be super obvious, and that's the match. That's all they do. And they could do just Cody versus Cena, and then you end up with a Seth Rollins cash-in at the end, and Seth maybe wins the Undisputed title, spinning off Cena into becoming a babyface again, and Cody and Seth can start their program up. Or you get more shenanigans because, like the ending of Night of Champions, that was a lot of overbooking, and they could do something similar, but maybe it's a multi-man match. Maybe it's not Cody and Cena one-on-one at SummerSlam. Maybe it is adding Randy Orton in there and CM Punk. Punk feeling like he got cheated at Night of Champions, that he didn't get what he wanted because of Seth Rollins. He screwed him over. So maybe he gets permission from the GMs. He gets added into that match. And Randy there too. Randy was the one who was trying to cheat during Night of Champions. He lost, but maybe he just pushes his way through and just pushes Cody to say, you got to get me in there because I didn't like how the words you used against me. And then you could start really like playing with more of the Randy Cody story, and Randy maybe feeling like Cody's getting a little too arrogant, or Randy starting to turn heel himself. So you could have that as like a fatal 4-way. Also, it protects John Cena from doing another like 15-minute match one-on-one, and no shenanigans this time at SummerSlam. Saw the Cody Cena match at Mania. It was okay. They'd have to do something else, and I think they'd still have to gimmick it up a little bit, so to speak, to make the Cody Cena match a lot more interesting and have new wrinkles to it, something different than what we just saw at WrestleMania, and not just rinse and repeat more overbooking like they did at Night of Champions. You just don't want to keep doing the same thing. So if you have a multi-man match for the title, could work, and you could still have Seth come out and cash in a fatal 4-way, and you could pin Punk and wins the Undisputed title. And now you have a lot of people going for that Undisputed Championship. But I will say, SummerSlam, interesting. It's going to be interesting how it all plays out, particularly the title pictures, the world title and the Undisputed title. But what do you think? Give me your early predictions. I need some help here. But if you want to talk more WWE, you want to have a good laugh, click this video right here because we're doing a little sketch just going through some just big old dummies talking about WWE and answering your questions too. Have a great day. See ya.